It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
Oh, come. Oh, you can hear its faint echo right now. I'm here to turn up the volume. To press the stinking face of humanity into the dark blood of its own secret heart. Oh, it's unbearable, isn't it? The suffering of strangers, the agony of friends. There is a secret song at the center of the world, Joey. And its sound is like razors through flesh.
There's something out there. That witch in the cellar is only part of it.
Inked in human blood.
It lives out in those woods. In the dark. Something that's come back from the dead.
That's right, we're doing Evil Dead with the new movie coming out. I figured we'd touch base on one of our favorite fucking childhood movies. Oh yeah, by the way, welcome to the Broke-Ass Broadcast.
And this is number 31. Or just Evil Dead, because it's not, it's more of like a special episode.
Yeah, we don't really cover specific topics. Normally we wing it and whatever comes in. But this time we knew the movie's coming out. Don couldn't be here.
Then we don't normally really talk about or rate movies because everyone fucking does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, with copyrights too, we can't show the movie, you can't, do anything else, but we got the movie on the original, and we're just figured, fuck it, we're gonna do a podcast of Regular Dead. It's a nice, dark, gloomy day.
But Evil Dead 2 is a great classic that even critics that cover it, it's not really going to be anything good other than the critics who are big fans of it.
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi got his start in this movie, and he's like one of the most famous directors, writers, producers there are now. And his brother, it was Sam Raimi and, what the hell's his brother's name? God damn it. Let's say something stupid like Steve. Jeff. But, anyway, even his brother's gone on to produce and make a bunch of shit. He's a good actor. He's in a bunch of movies. He's also in one of the newer, they started redoing a bunch of old classics, and they brought out that new show, the Creep Show series. And there was, sorry about the burps, I know all that last podcast was nothing but coughing and burping the whole time, but he did a character helped produce one of the episodes, and it's all about the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, and it happens on a kid's TV show set. So that was like a big homage to the Evil Dead. He's done the first 3 Spider-Man movies, or Sam Raimi. Tons of, we can actually look up his IMDb, Sam Raimi's.
The Creep Show series, I thought was amazing.
Oh, they did a great job with it. And let's check out his full list of movies here. Well, if I would stop getting dumb shit on my phone, I could.
Good thing you viewers can't see this. There's all kinds of ads and shit popping up.
And then I'm exit out all my porno that I was watching. So Evil Dead really gets me going.
zombie porn.
It was first going to be called Within the Woods. It wasn't called The Evil Dead. It was called Within the Woods in 1978. Which once he showed it to a couple people to raise some money, he finally got enough money for it. And finally released it as The Evil Dead in 1981. Had very lukewarm interests in the United States, and they took it to Europe. It was it was warmly received, and then it started gaining more positive reviews, and ticket sales started to increase, and it was eventually released stateside to a big box office return, and then it was banned in a bunch of countries.
I did hear that.
And his next directorial effort was Crime Wave, 1985. So it was 4 years later before he released any other movie. A quirky, cartoon-like effort that failed to catch fire without it, and I never even heard of it.
I've never heard of that.
Crime Wave, 1985.
I was just about to ask you if it was a movie, and then you basically said that.
Yeah, and he bounced back with Evil Dead 2 in 1987. So 6 years after the first one came out, the second one came out.
Damn.
And I remember it was like, oh, we did Darkman in 1990. That was a huge fucking movie. And then found Army of Darkness after that. The Quick and the Dead, a Western.
Never heard of that. The Army of Darkness is sick, though.
Then he directed A Simple Plan, 1998, a crime thriller about stolen money with Bill Paxton and Bridget Fonda. And Bill Paxton, he gets a lot of shit, but in Frailty, he was fucking amazing. They're like, oh, this guy can't act, but in Frailty, he was really good. I just like that movie anyway. But Bridget Fonda, she was a huge name.
Well, even for someone who they claim can't act, Frailty is a great example because it was like realistic style acting that like drew you into it.
Yeah, it made you feel like you were there with them on this journey.
So I mean that shows that he can act, obviously, but he has like his own style of acting. He's meant for like fucked up movies.
But he was in Twister, and he was fucking awful. But he was also supposed to play a cool, rad kind of dude, you know, like a kind of hippie kind of guy. So he was trying to play it up too much.
That's what I mean. Like he needs that like dark-minded, like fucked up character to portray because he is great with like something like that.
Yeah, I don't know too much more about stuff he's been in, but he was awesome in Frailty. And then you go to a baseball film, For the Love of the Game, in 1999. Never know he directed that either. Then in 2000, returned to the fantasy genre with a top-flight cast in The Gift. What's The Gift? I don't remember that movie either. In 2002, Raimi was given a real opportunity to demonstrate his dynamic visual style with a budget film adaptation of Stan Lee's comic book superhero Spider-Man. Fans were not disappointed. The movie was strong in both script and effects and was a runaway success at the box office. Of course, Raimi returned for the sequel, Spider-Man 2, which surpassed the original box office hit.
To me, Spider-Man 2 was like the last good one. At 3, that's when I felt like it started going downhill. I mean, I've also never been like a real big fan of Spider-Man, but I did like the first 2.
These are his trademarks. The Three Stooges. He uses Stooge-like sequences in many of his movies, especially in Evil Dead films. Yeah, and Evil Dead 2 is kind of goofy, and Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness. It says here, he uses stooge-like sequences in many of his movies, especially in Evil Dead films. Raimi is a huge fan of the Three Stooges. He made many Super 8 films that resembled classic Stooge shorts. Shemp often credits a character called a Shemp, another homage to the Three Stooges. Most frequently, it is a fake Shemp, a reference to the Three Stooges. Often has a voiceover from a principal character at the end of his films. So he does voiceover at the end of Army of Darkness and at the end of all the Spider-Man films. He has an ongoing feud, a joke feud with Wes Craven. Well, not anymore, Wes Craven's dead, but I wonder what it was about.
Right.
Ted Raimi, that's his brother. Ted.
That's it.
Ted Raimi. So that's some background on Sam Raimi. A lot of movies I didn't know he had shit to do with.
Oh, I didn't either.
I thought, especially because, I mean, he's done even, they weren't all, I didn't go through all the movies, but Drag Me to Hell is a Sam Raimi, and it's just like a side version of fucking Evil Dead. It's just a witch. It's the same style of in your face. It's funny horror. Like the first Evil Dead, which I hated Evil Dead 2 for the longest time just because it was so slapstick and funny. And the original one was a straight horror. It was nothing, there's nothing to laugh about.
Right.
The first time I saw it, and I'm just like, wow, I've never actually seen someone, they're showing a scene chopping off of body parts. Like, that, to me, when I first saw it, I was like, holy, like, you see cutaway
especially
scenes.
for that time era, too.
You see cutaway scenes, you see, like, them cutting, but the camera will be fixed on them holding an axe or something and swinging it down. Or then they'll show a fake leg and an axe will come down and chop it, but they never did one full scene where they're showing a body there and someone's swinging at it and its limbs are being cut into, and to me that was more brutal.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's what I mean too, like especially for that time era, because most movies back then when you would see a limb get chopped off, that's how it was. You'd see them swing the axe and then it would cut and then you'd see like a leg.
Yeah, it's laying there, a fake limb laying there, yeah.
Right.
You can actually watch it, and to see it happening over and over, he's swinging and stabbing non-stop. Yeah, it was very intense. Seeing as a kid, it was easily became my favorite horror movie, and before that it was always The Exorcist, because it was terrifying, like, because it was more realistic too, like you don't know what to do with it.
I mean, for a classic type movie, that's still one of my favorites, is The Exorcist.
Oh, it still is mine too, but they had a great budget. The people, the actors and actresses they had at that time were already well known.
Yeah.
And this guy made this from the ground up by himself to help him and his brother and a couple other people. He said he spent like $2,000 to $5,000 making this movie, and that was it.
Damn.
I mean, back then, sure, it's a lot of money, but trying to do it yourself and to be able to come up with it. And he created one of the most iconic characters ever. Ash is now a household name almost, where everyone's like, oh, that's that badass. When they spawned that Ash vs. Evil Dead series, and he was a fucking badass as an old man.
And that was comical too, but brutal.
Oh, this is where the Forrest gets a little bit of poontang. Forrest wrapping her up and spread her legs apart. Why the fuck would trees want to, like, seeing this as a kid too, I was like, oh man, that's disturbing. Like, why would trees give a fuck about?
I mean, it is alive, most things.
But I guess too, if it is evil, the other thing that pissed me off about this movie is the ugliest girl is the one that got naked. She has a hideous face.
Right.
You see her topless and you're just like, oh, okay, I don't care, really. So she's about to get raped by a big ass stick. I mean, it's like that big around.
And she looks like one of the members of Motley Crue.
Yeah. And she also looks like she likes it. I heard at the court, the tree said that she was asking for it. Did you see the way she was dressed?
Did you hear the way she was moaning for that wood?
But all in all of my favorites, like 2 Parts, Arm of Darkness, is just fucking insanely great, and they started getting better effects. See, the whole thing, the first one has always been just because it's pure horror. That they don't. They wanted to scare you, and if you've never seen it and you watch for the first time, but now after the remake in 2013, people are gonna look back on it and be like, "Oh, this is lame," because of the body horror and gore that they have now.
Well, it's even like some of the stuff that like the critics say about Child's Play, because the first Child's Play was one of the most like brutal, and then they started adding more comical stuff after that, and people talk about it and say that the first one's like the worst one, and I'm like, no, that's the best.
That's terrifying.
Especially as a kid to see it, but I mean, most people that are talking about it now aren't kids, but I'm like, the first time you saw it, you were probably a kid.
And all the scary movies that come out now that anyone cares about it's nothing but jump scares. The storyline and the creepy factor of the build-up suspense isn't scary.
Right.
They're just trying to throw shit in your face really fast and with loud noises, so of course it fucking gets startled. It doesn't leave a deep, dark fear in you like the way those old movies built up. They built up.
And especially with a sense like that, where you're like, oh shit, this could probably really happen.
Like now
which makes you fucking terrified.
Like even these moments here where she gets away and she's making it back to the cabin, but it's locked and she can't get the key, and the camera's moving closer like it's coming for her, and it's back and forth. Camera's getting closer, she can't get it in, she can't get the key in, and like that build up right there is terrifying. You feel for her. You feel like that level of scared that person had to be at that moment. Like, I have to do this or I'm going to die kind of feel. And then as soon as she drops the key and you think she's getting taken, something grabs her arm. So right there, that's scary, but it's Ash because they open the door, they bring her in. But all that kind of filmmaking and build up is way better horror writing than anything that comes out today. Now
absolutely.
AI, they copied fucking Child's Play and made it a fucking AI robot, which takes away from the supernatural aspect. I think we might have talked about that on the one.
But that's what made it scary with like Chucky, because it was all like voodoo magic that brought the doll to life. So you think from an aspect like, oh shit, that could probably actually.
I don't know shit about voodoo. Maybe there is someone doing that right now.
Exactly.
I don't know voodoo.
Maybe there is little fucking evil voodoo dolls running around trying to kill people.
I know there's an old movie called Dolls, where the dolls come to life. That came out back, I think, in the early 80s or late 70s. And at that time, people were terrified of that. They're like, oh, this is creepy. But then again, that didn't give you the backstory that Child's Play does, where you know it's a serial killer, and you know he's fucked up in the head, and he's going to do whatever he can.
And that's what's crazy, too, because it is a serial killer who does voodoo to go into the doll so that he doesn't die, because he's about to. But, I mean, I won't explain too much detail because
we'll do a Chucky one next time.
I do get excited talking about it though, because not only is it like one of my all-time favorites, but it's like it can be so realistic.
Yeah, it doesn't play up into like fantasy horror, because it's hard for some of us to grasp like sci-fi horror,
Well,
like space horror and shit like that, because it's not something you see. It's
that,
nothing
in a
we
way,
can relate
though,
to.
even compared to other like zombie type movies, that's how I feel about Evil Dead. It just has a more realistic feel where you get like that vibe, like, oh shit, this could maybe happen.
Yeah, I mean, because there are people that go with their friends to hang out in a cabin, and if you're there by yourselves, what the fuck you gonna do? It's great too, because back then they didn't have cell phones. So now, to make a good horror movie, you have to go to a cabin in a remote place, say, oh, there's no cell service here. Because cell phones technology ruins horror, because you can just easily,
Right.
oh, our Airbnb doesn't have Wi-Fi. Alright, I guess. Then they start screaming like that's a horror movie. That's the scariest thing they ever came across. No internet. But that's the Evil Dead break. Watch it. Watch them all. Watch every fucking one of them.
I can't not have a phone. I was born with my phone.
Yeah. That's the first piece of technology I saw when mine came out of my mom's vagina, and she held me for the first time because she was also, in her other hand, on a phone.
As soon as I popped out, she handed me a phone and an iPad.
Yeah, she handed me a phone. She said, call me an Uber home. Get the fuck out of here. Alright, well, we're not going to sit here and dissect the movie as we go through it. We wanted to, but we know it's not worth it for a lot of people.
Because our audio is going to be terrible if we do. Your best bet is watch the movie because it's fucking great.
Yeah, we can't play the movie.
Well,
you used to be able to, on YouTube, you used to be able to sit there with...
But we're not going to be able to explain it to where it gives the feel that the movie does.
Yeah. And, I mean, we might do it on a Patreon, a couple Patreons. Put together a watch. We might sit through Evil Dead, do a commentary over it.
You can do whatever you want on Patreon.
We'll also do, except porno, I don't think, you do have nudity, but you can have like full on.
Right.
But we'll do a Chucky one. We'll sit and watch Chucky.
Fuck yeah.
With everyone. We've seen podcasts where guys sit there and they say, hey, okay, play the movie at home while we watch it. We'll watch together and we could talk about it and you can comment. But we might do a live stream for Patreon, and that way anyone can comment on us as we're watching it. They don't have to put the movie in. They can see what we're watching with us. They turn it on, they tune in with us watching it.
The biggest debate for me with the Chucky one, I gotta figure out then if I want to wear my Chucky Charm shirt or my Chucky costume. That'd be hilarious if I'm just sitting there in a Chucky costume.
But check out our Facebook page, our Twitter, because we'll be posting on there if we're going to be doing something on Patreon or YouTube. We got something coming up that you can't see here that you want to check out. So definitely keep looking at all our fucking social media bullshit, and we'll definitely get a movie segment together and go full on in.
And unlike most of the websites, our Patreon doesn't cost, so join.
Yeah, join up. For now, it doesn't cost because they force us to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I know some people on Patreon where it's fucking like $10 to join the Patreon. As of right now, we're free.
Yeah,
and
we're about. It's gonna be $3 to join. Because that's the minimum they will let us charge. We want to charge less, but Patreon takes 10%.
But the biggest point with that too, though, is that we'll probably still go with the minimum that they'll allow us to, because we're not trying to make money off of it. We're trying to get people to watch our shit.
So how about this? Once we reach 1,000 Patreon people, whoever subscribes after that and before that, we'll even do this. We'll let you all take your Patreon back and then resubscribe to it. All of the money that we get from those Patreon accounts that they make us take so that Patreon can get their money, we're going to take that and keep an account so that every single person that signs up, we will refund you your money. We will give you your money back for your Patreon. You give us the money for it, send us your details, and we'll find a way to give you your pledge money back, because we want to do this for fun. We're not trying to make money off of you guys.
But then that will help you guys too to get shit that gets taken off of YouTube or that we can't put on YouTube in the first place. But we get a lot of shit taken off of YouTube.
And I have a lot of saved shit that YouTube took down that I want to put on Patreon.
That's what I mean. YouTube's taking a lot of our shit down already.
I'm going to give you one last chance to prove you're not a moron.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Nothing is as big as mine.
Thank you. Goodbye.